Hey everyone, it's Angelina with River of Life Coaching, and today we're going to be doing a deeper dive into more specific reflection questions that we can ask ourselves or discuss with other people in our support network on how to actually live more authentically and in more alignment with our values and what's important to us, and how to essentially have a life that feels meaningful and full for us. So, in a previous video, we talked about different areas of our life that we may need to look at and assess to see what's working and what's not working. And so, today we're going to go more specifically into some specific reflection questions that we can apply to a lot of those different areas of our life. Before we get started, if you are interested in one on one coaching, I am available for coaching sessions. You're more than welcome to message me directly for that and inquire about that for more information. I do also host workshops and groups, so stay tuned for more information about that. If that's not so much your thing, that's perfectly fine. Like, share, and subscribe to these videos so that you can get more content relating to topics ranging from spirituality, philosophy, and topics that are relating to life and how we can actually live a full and authentic life that's meaningful to us. So, without further ado, we're going to get started and we're going to be just listing out some of these reflection questions. Now, for these questions, there's a lot of different ways we can go about it. Sometimes we can just really pause and think about these questions and sit on them for a moment or two, a few minutes, we can meditate on them. Sometimes we can journal and write pen to paper, or sometimes we can also type these things out on a Word document or a Google Doc document, whatever your preference is. It doesn't really matter. Everyone's got their own preferences. Some people like to talk about these things one-on-one with either a coach or a therapist or a friend who they trust or a mentor or advisor. Some people like to just do this more solo, and whatever you feel most drawn to do and whatever you feel would bring you the most wisdom and guidance and fulfillment, and whatever you think would actually challenge you the most and really help you to grow the most, I would listen to that and trust that. Ultimately, what we do with these questions are for us. And yes, though our actions do affect other people, it's important for us to take a look at that. But ultimately, we're the ones who are going to be sitting with these questions. We're the ones who are going to be sitting with the consequences of our actions, good and bad. We're the ones who are going to be experiencing what comes as a result of reflecting on these things and actually working towards making changes in our life. So, let's get started. Let's start with some questions relating to self-awareness. Who am I beneath my roles and my responsibilities? What parts of myself have I neglected? When do I feel most authentic? When do I feel like I'm pretending or being inauthentic? What parts of my personality am I still discovering and learning? What beliefs about myself no longer serve me? What strengths do I often overlook? What fears influence my decisions, and how am I living my life in fear currently? What would I pursue or do differently if I trusted myself completely? And how can I gain more self-trust? What version of myself am I becoming and stepping into? Really sit and think about those things. Really see, when it comes to self-awareness, are there things that you need to do differently and reflect on a little bit more? Or are you all set and there's no more work to be done on that? Some people genuinely believe that they are all done and they've mastered all of these things and there's no more growth to be had. And where do you think you stand with those things? Do you think that's actually accurate and truthful and honest? Now we'll turn to values. What is it that I truly value and why? What values feel non-negotiable for me that I will not change or budge? Where is my life aligned with those values? Where is my life not aligned with those values, and where may I be compromising on those values? What's causing those compromises and why? Are those things that I can actually change? What are some values that I've inherited through family, upbringing, friends, society, the communities that I'm part of? What are the values that I've actually intentionally chosen? Or more so, what are the values that I'm choosing currently? What are the values that I'm stepping into and actually acting on? What is it internally that's my inner compass? What value deserves more attention in this season of my life? Is one value more important to me currently than another? Are there any principles that guide my decisions when life becomes difficult? What is it that I actually think I need? What is important? If somebody observed my life for 1 week or 1 month or 1 year, what values would they think that I have? How would they actually see me? How does my time and the way I'm spending my time reflect my values and what's important to me? Am I actually spending time on what is a priority to me? Does my spending money reflect what matters most to me and reflect my values? Or do I spend money on things that aren't that important to me? Really sit and think about these types of questions. Really honestly assess where you stand with your values. Many people find that doing values decks can be really helpful, where they have a different card, and with each card it has a different value and a brief description of those values typically. And then we lay out each of those cards and rate them based off of how important they are to us. Sometimes that gives us a good reality check to really assess what's actually important and what's actually meaningful to us, what actually matters in this current season of our life. And sometimes we may find that the things we once thought were important to us and was a value of ours was actually not ours, but it was a reflection of what other people thought we needed to be doing. And it gives us an opportunity to really check our motives behind how we're spending our times and how we identify ourselves and how we actually act and show up in our life. So really ponder on that and see what needs to change, if anything. And now we'll go to purpose and meaning. There's a lot that we can delve into when it comes to purpose and meaning. But questions that we can start with are, what gives my life meaning? What kind of contributions do I hope to make in this current life that I have? Are there any contributions that I can make? And what are they? What problems do I feel drawn to help solve? That could be in our community, that could be in the world at large, that can be in our own personal lives, that can be in our relationships. What kind of work gives me energy and fulfillment? What kind of work leaves me feeling that this was time worth spent and that the energy and resources that were used towards this were well worth it? Are there any activities or things that I can do that make me lose track of time? Are there things that I can do that make me feel like my time has been well spent? What are some impacts that I hope people can experience because they've come in contact with me? What are some impacts I'd like to leave and legacies I'd like to leave behind after I die? What would make my life feel deeply worthwhile? Many of us call this a life worth living. What gifts have I been entrusted with? What are some qualities and strengths that I have that I can use to good use? And how am I using those gifts? Am I using these gifts? Do I even know what they are? If not, where can I start to really delve into this? A lot of times we look at the idea of purpose and meaning and we assign it to a job or a career. And while that can be true, that's not always going to be the case for everybody. And finding purpose and finding meaning doesn't have to be this giant, grand thing. It can be in everyday little things that we do that are small contributions to improving ourselves, to bettering our life, to becoming more aligned with ourselves, or to helping another person. And in the grand scheme of things, doing good work and doing our part in the web of life. There are many ways and many viewpoints of looking at this. So how do you view it? Do you want to take a deeper dive into finding purpose and meaning and understanding more of what all that entails? And now we'll look into identity. Who am I becoming? Is my identity rooted in what is viewed as successful in society's eyes? Maybe that would be material achievements. Maybe that would be financial achievements. Maybe that would be having a degree or a certain job title or a certain accomplishment, winning an award. Or is my identity rooted in the kind of character I have, my integrity, my values, how I act, how I treat others? Are there any labels that I've outgrown? Are there any labels that I currently hold? Are there any labels that maybe worked at one point in my life but don't work currently? Are there any identities that just no longer fit with me today or where I want to be? Are there any identities that bring me freedom, or are there ones that keep me stuck in a lower vibration or a lower frequency, a lower way of existing and showing up, a way that's not as aligned for us and not as expansive and doesn't feel right intuitively? Are there any assumptions about success that I've never questioned? Are there any assumptions that I have about what success looks like, who is successful, who deserves to be successful, and whether or not I'm deserving of success? If I removed all expectations that other people place on me, whether it's individual relationships, family, society, community, the culture I'm part of, if I removed all those external expectations, what would I identify as real for me? Who I want to become, what I want to step into, what I want to be, or what I am? What does that look like for us? What do we feel about that? What do we believe about who we are? And what does authenticity mean to me when it comes to my identity? Does my identity have to be a certain way? Is my identity rooted in living in my values, free from fear, or even with fear, and moving through it? There are many more different questions that we can ask ourselves, but I would encourage you all to really sit and ponder with these ones. Take out a journal or a notebook, take out a piece of paper, type it out, talk about it with a friend, talk about it with a mentor, coaching session, talk about it with a therapist, or just meditate on it. Maybe bring these things to God, whatever your idea of God may be. Maybe it's a higher power, maybe it's a higher self, maybe it's a deity. Doesn't matter. What matters is that we bring these questions to the forefront of our minds and really honestly assess and sit with ourselves. As difficult as it might be sometimes, a lot of times we may fall into the trap of thinking that spirituality is quote unquote love and light, and that it's easy, and that it is always going to be sunshine and rainbows. But real spiritual work is actually very painful. Many times it is actually going to require us to do really deep work and really look at some hard truths about ourselves and maybe look at some pills that are hard to swallow. But in doing so, it may be worth it in the end. It may not be easy in the moment. It may not be easy as we're experiencing this and as we're really honestly assessing what we're doing and how we're showing up and how different areas of our life are currently going. But many people find that when they actually embark on this, it's a worthwhile endeavor. And it was all worth every moment of it, every tear, every ounce of pain, every feeling of discomfort, every uncomfortable emotion that came with it. that all of it was worth it because they were able to get on the other side and experience a new sense of freedom or fulfillment or alignment or expansiveness. Everybody's experiences are different, and there are many things that we can do to put supports in place as we go through this, and it's important for us to do that. That can be coaching sessions, mentoring, that could be going to therapy, whether it's individual or group therapy. That can be going to different types of communities or recovery programs even. That can be talking with trusted friends or family members if we have that, to really give us the kind of guidance and support, encouragement, motivation, and love, and gentleness, and care and nurturing that we may need from our relationships as we go through this. It's important for us to remember that more often than not, we're not alone. We may feel like we're alone physically. Maybe some of us don't have those supports in place yet. Maybe we don't know where to really look just yet for those types of people in our lives who can actually help us to navigate this and who are doing this kind of work as well. Maybe we don't have that yet, and that's okay. Where can we go towards that? What's a good place to start? What are some things I can do to place myself in that? Where can I ask for help? Is help available? If there's no immediate help currently outside of us, sometimes we may have to look into ourselves. Sometimes we may have to look towards God or a higher power, whatever that might mean to us. Sometimes it's a good place to start. Where do I actually believe in a higher power? Do I believe in a higher power? Do I believe that God exists? Are there any views of God? There are so many different ways we can look at that, and that's a very deep conversation, a deep way, a deep topic to look at, to really delve into and get clear about, and to allow for mystery. It's okay to not know all the time. It's okay to question things. It's okay to change. It's okay for one thing to work at one point in our lives, whether it's an idea, a concept, a belief, a practice, an identity, and then for that to change at different seasons and periods in our life. We're all on the river of life and on the journey of life. And we may find that floating on the river of life be a worthwhile endeavor. If you found this video to be helpful, like, share, and subscribe. If you're interested in one-on-one sessions, message me directly. And I hope you have a great day.